Hello, it's me again, Sasha. So today I'm going to be doing a orange and pink kind of neon looking makeup that I'm actually going to be trying out for a photo shoot in a few weeks. So this is just my test run, but just so I can get everyone to kind of see how my routine is. I think it's nice to film things when I'm testing them. So again, I'm going to start in with my e.l.f. Putty Primer. I really do love this stuff. My face isn't super dry. I have pretty normal, non-problematic skin for the most part, other than my mask area has been broke out. So I am spreading this just across where I have some pore issues, which is my cheeks, my nose, my forehead, and I'll put some on my chin also. And that just helps kind of smooth everything out so the foundation doesn't sit in those lines and then all those little pores. So next I'm going to spot conceal a couple of places, and I'm going to spot conceal with the Makeup Revolution concealer. And this is pretty close to my natural shade, maybe a little darker, and I'm going to let this sit on here. And the longer you let it sit, the thicker it'll get, so it has a little more full coverage that way. So just a tip for trying to cover up any blemishes. Put concealer on before your foundation, let it sit before you apply any foundation over the top, and it's going to help cover those up. So I'm going to start with my forehead with my foundation. It's a little bit light, but that's okay, we can fix that. And I forgot to say, this is the KVD Lock-It foundation. Obviously I use a lot of it. I'm almost out. And this is one of the most full coverage foundations out there. It is very, very drying though, so keep that in mind. If you have dry skin, I do not recommend this. And I am doing my makeup in my reflection of my phone, so please bear with me. If you hear any background noise, it's probably my children or my husband. They are all awake right now, and usually I film when they're all asleep just to cut down on noise. I was going to film this last night, but we had some really nasty storms, so it was just way, way, way too noisy since I already talk so quietly. And this is only about 2 pumps worth of this foundation. And you can see it's covering that spot very well with that concealer beforehand and this foundation. And I am going to bring this up over my eyelids to cover all those veins. And that's just with what's left over on my brush. I'm not going to dip back in. And I'm just going to smooth it out with a wet blender. It's been used and abused, it's stained. It's about time for me to get a new one. But she still gets the job done, and she is clean. And the foundation shade I use is Light 44 Cool. And the shade of the concealer I just used is C4. And it's in the Makeup Revolution concealer. So now I'm going to go in with a lighter concealer to highlight. And this is the Magic Star concealer. It is also in C4. And I'm just going to put dots here and here. A little on my forehead. Ever so slightly on my nose. And just a little bit there. And I'm going to blend this out with my sponge. I'm sorry if I'm moving my head around a lot. I'm just making sure in the camera that I have everything blended since I'm not using a mirror. So there's my concealer. It's blended out. Now it's going to be time to contour. And with contour, I'm going to use the Ulta Beauty World Traveler. It's this blush and bronzer duo. And I'm going to be using what they call a bronzer shade, just to slightly contour and bronze up my skin. Not a lot. Just ever so slightly touch it to my skin. I'm going to do my bottom lip right here, just so it gives the effect of it looking a little bit more pouty. And don't worry if you get makeup all over your lips, you can wipe it off before you do your lipstick. There's no reason to try to avoid your lips. I'm going to check in a mirror real quick and make sure it's all blended. It all looks blended. I do have a few blemishes here and here, as well as there, that you can see a little bit more now because I've worked over the top of them. So now we're going to go in with a blush, and I'm going to use a cream blush today. This is the Natasha Denona Diamond and Blush palette. This one is in 02. So it's a little messy. It's one of my favorite ones to use, but it looks like this. These are all blushes, or these are all creams, and these are all powders on the bottom. So I'm going to take the blush shade and just lightly dab it because it can get very extreme. I'm going to bring a little of it up my nose, and I actually am going to bring it up a little because of the look that I'm doing. It does require quite a bit of a pinky blushed look even up on the face. So I'm just going to bring that up. Bring it even through my eyebrow, just a teeny bit. And I do bring a little on my nose, not much. Let's see, it still looks very natural. So now I'm going to set my face. And the powder I'm going to be using is the Pretty Vulgar, the Powder Room Matte About It powder. It's just a translucent powder. And I do work off of a paint palette, so there's no cross-contamination of any kind going on. I'm just going to lightly go through and set my whole face. You do not have to set this foundation, since it is a very matte foundation. You can see I have a little bit of a glow, but not a whole lot of one, and that will matten down even farther if you don't set it. But I just prefer to set all my foundations to try to prevent as much transfer as possible. You can see where I put that blush, it is still very luminous. It has a slight shimmer to it. I'll even give it a swatch so you can see kind of what it looks like. So we're going to swatch it on my wrist. It's a very orangey, but has a little bit of a sheen. I don't know if you can see it or not in the camera. And it blends out super, super good. So you can see down here where it's blended more, it blends right into the skin. It's a very subtle blush. So now that my face has powder all over it. I'm going to be using the Marc Jacobs highlighter. It looks like this. And here's a swatch of it also. It's very reflective. I do tend to use the same powder brush for all of my powdered needs. I'm not one to sit there and use one blush brush and then one contour brush and a powder for a translucent powder. You can definitely get away with just using one powder brush. Now that I have that done, I am going to go in with a teeny bit more blush because, like I said, this is a very pink and orange look. It's going to be like a neon type shoot, and it's going to be really fun. So I am just bringing my blush right below my highlight and back up my forehead. And again, I am running this through my eyebrows and a bit on my nose. And that was the powder out of this palette also. So now that that is all done, I'm going to set my face. And this is the Mario Badescu facial spray. This is the chamomile and lavender. So I put this on before I started filming, but my lips are really dry today, so I'm going to reapply just to make sure they are super hydrated for my lipstick to go on. Sorry, need to fix my shirt. So my face is still pretty wet, but I'm going to go ahead and apply my eye primer. And the eye primer I'm going to be using is, again, the Hard Candy eye primer. And I don't think I'm going to show you each brush that I use because I never use like one from a certain kit or anything. They're just random brushes that I am using. Actually, I'm going to do this with my finger. It works a lot faster to do it this way. Eyes are now primed. So I'm going to go into my Thirsty palette. And I think I'm going to set it with, scratch that. We're not going to do the Thirsty palette. Let's check our Jawbreaker palette. Yes, I'm going to set it with this shade right here. It's a little bit of an off-white, and it is called Virgin. And I'm just going to set it all over the lid. And I am patting this on. Now that that has been patted on, I'm actually going to use my finger and get into this yellow shade, and it is called Wow. It's also from the Jawbreaker palette. And we're going to just try to press that in here. But I'd really like it to pop a little more than that. So I may, yeah, I'm going to actually use the Jeffree Star liquid lipstick. It's a velour lipstick in Drug Lord. And I'm going to put a little bit of this on my finger and kind of blend that out right here and use it as a second eye primer and see how that works. Maybe it will hold better color. Yes, so this is much more yellow now. So I'm going to do that to the other eye as well. Just a little bit. Blend it out. And now I'm going to use Wow on top of it. And that makes it much, much more yellow. So next, I'm going to actually get a little fluffy brush. This is a Jeffree Star brush from Morphe, and it is JS5. And I'm going to, let's see, get the James Charles palette, I believe. Yep. I'm going to get the James Charles palette, and I'm going to grab this orange. Not sure what the name is. It doesn't say on here. And I'm focusing this orange right next to the yellow. And now I'm going to grab the hot pink shade from the James palette, which is this bottom corner. And this does stain some people. So if you stain easily, I don't recommend any pinks or reds because they will stain your eyelids. And if that's a problem for you, I would avoid them. Again, I'm just focusing this on the outer corner. And I have not blended anything yet. I am just applying the colors. And now I'm going to start blending the orange and the pink. I'm not trying to do a super good blend at the moment, but you just hold your brush and the more force you put on it, the better the pigmentation will be. The farther down, the lighter it'll be, and the easier it'll blend. So this is what we're working with right now. They're not quite even, they're not quite blended, but we're gonna get there. So I'm going to jump back into my Jawbreaker palette, and I'm going to get this orange, and it is called Suck. And I'm going to use that same brush, and I'm just going to pop that back in the middle, try to build that orange back up. Okay, now that we are back to having some orange on there, I am going to grab another palette. And this is the Thirsty palette, and I'm going to grab the color Bitch. It is a very pretty coral shade, and I'm going to kind of bring that into my crease right here. And this is actually my first time using the Thirsty palette since I bought it. In the formula, it is still good. I would say it is maybe a little drier than Jeffree Star's palettes usually are, though. I just got this a few months ago when he did his Black Friday sale. So that looks pretty blended. We're going to go back in with some pinks. And I think I'm going to grab this shade. It's a very hot pink looking shade. It is called Cavity out of the Blood Sugar palette. And again, I'm taking it on the same fluffy brush. And I'm just going to pack that on. So next, I'm going to grab the Beauty Killer palette by Jeffree Star also. And I'm going to use Star Power, which is this hot pink over here. And I'm going to actually use this blush brush. I'm going to use just the tip of it. And I'm going to kind of flick it outward and bring it out ever so lightly and blend the edges. I'm going to bring it up to the hairline. just so slightly. And we're going to blend. And this part you could skip, but since I'm doing it for a photo shoot, I want it to be very exaggerated, more so than it already is. This look, I will be doing it for my magazine I work for, which is Southern Sass and Sassy Couture. It is a local magazine. Highly, highly suggest you guys check it out. Support a local magazine, local businesses. We are now printing locally also. So everything is going to be local. Local models, local photographers in the Northwest Arkansas region. You're never too young or never too old to give it a shot. I highly recommend it. It's a bunch of fun, a bunch of really great people. It also gives you just a teeny bit of publicity also if you're looking to start your own photography business and things like that, just to give you kind of a step into that world. So I have it brought up a little bit, and I'm pretty happy with my eye look right now. Maybe just slightly blend it more. So the next thing I think I'm gonna do is grab that yellow from the Thirsty palette, and I think I'm gonna bring it under my eyes. Or actually, I'm gonna bring the coral color that I had used, and that's called Bitch, and bring it under my eye. And I'm gonna do this part in a mirror so I don't put myself in the eyeball. So that's what it looks like. The difference between bringing a color under, to me, is a major difference. I'm just using this teeny little brush to do this. So that is what it looks like with both of them done. So the next thing I'm going to do is fill my eyebrows. I've never used this brow pencil, so hopefully it works out. It is the NYX or NYX Professional Makeup Eyebrow Pencil, and it is in dark brown. It has this little comb. Looks like this. And just swatch it. It's a very hard formula, so I'm not sure how I'm going to like it. I prefer my eyebrow products to be very creamy. And I'm going to do this in my mirror also. The color isn't awful, but it is a bit warmer than I normally like. You do have to kind of work with it since it is such a dry formula. And I'm going to brush this out up here to get all blend in. So there's my brow after, and here is before. It is not the worst product I've used, but it is not the best. It is a good cheap option, but I do like the e.l.f. brow pencil more. So now both my brows are done. They are definitely not twins, but they never will be. But I would say they are definitely sisters. So I have my brows. So I'm going to go in with actually another palette, and I'm going to use the Tingy Glisten Up by Morphe. And I'm going to use Keep It Kind. It's an eyeshadow. It's this pink one, but it's very shimmery. And it's lighter than what I have over here, so I'm just going to kind of make that a nice shimmery pink highlight. Just shimmer up a little, since my eyes are so matte. Bring it down my highlight a little bit. And I'm gonna get the KVD Alchemist holographic palette also. And I'm gonna grab the pink opal shade, which is this bottom one. And I'm gonna bring it over. This is gonna be a very highlighty look. And like I said before, it is for a photo shoot, so it does need to be a bit over the top. So this is what we look like so far. Next, I am going to do my lips. And I think I'm gonna go with a nude lip, since my face does look so colorful already. I'm gonna use the Anastasia Beverly Hills lipstick, and this is in Butterscotch. It's actually a lip gloss. So I'm gonna use this. And I do have very small lips, so it's not the best representation for any kind of lip gloss. And I'm actually going to top it with some of the gloss in Wet Peach, just to give it a little bit of a pink shimmer to it. So the only thing I have left is eyelashes and liner. So I'm going to grab a mirror, and I'm going to use this really pretty, like, neon greenish, yellowy, depends on the light what color it looks, and I will swatch it. And it is by Fenty. And this is the liner I'll use today. You can see it's very, very bright. And I do struggle with liner because I shake very badly. And this is my first time using this liner also, so I'm not sure how I like this formula. It isn't as full coverage as I would like it to be. So I'm having to go back over it numerous times, which is giving me wonky lines because of my shaking. And it's kind of a chunky formula also. So I don't know that I recommend this stuff at all. And I'm doing 3 little tails since my hand is shaking so much. I can't get a perfect wing. So we are going to do something a little different. And that is perfectly fine. Makeup is just like art. It's all about expressing yourself. You can see right here, that isn't even a like mess up on the line. That is like a chunk of liquid eyeliner. And you can see it chunked up on my lash line and on my lashes. It's just not a good look. It looks way worse in person than it does in the camera. I'm just going to keep building it up and try to get it fixed. And this is why before a photo shoot, it's so important to test run your makeup. Because if not, if you're not familiar with the product, like I'm not this one, you're going to end up with some weird things happening. And I don't know if you can see it on my hand, is already cracking. Can't get my hand turned. So that liner's already cracking on my hand. So I would not buy this ever again. See, this is more of what I was going for on this side. And it just didn't work out. Looks like I can actually just chip this off and redo it. So I guess that is a plus to this crumbly formula. As if you mess up, it just pops right off. Not sure how well that means it'll stand up being worn all day, but at least it is helpful when you mess up. That is the liner currently. So much better than it was. While that is drying, I'm going to grab my mascara and apply that in the mirror also. And this is the Paris Hilton mascara. Not sure exactly which one it is. She does make several, but the one looks like this. So that's what that looks like. It's not a great mascara, but gets the job done when I'm doing test runs. So the only thing I have left is lashes. And I'm going to wear these, I believe, to test it out. They're just some cheapies from Amazon. They're great for test runs, because then if you accidentally cut them too short and you can't use them again, you didn't spend arm and leg. So I'm going to make sure they fit my eye. And these should be the right size already. And I really struggle with putting my own lashes on, so you'll have to bear with me on that. I'm using the Duo glue. And my eyes are very, very curved, so it's always been a struggle to get lashes that I'll just stick on. Sorry if you hear racket, my cat's attacking my door. So I'm going to pop off screen and I'm going to apply these. So this is what we look like with our lashes on. I would definitely use a bigger lash though for this look, I think. I don't like how thin these are. But this is it. Let me know if you like it. If you have any questions. I think next I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So if you have any questions about who I am, why I'm doing makeup, how I started makeup, anything like that, just comment below and let me know what you want to hear. All right, thank you.